This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
This is Kevin Harlan. Black Friday game days coming to Prime, and it's going to be huge. Black Friday football is back with Bears-Eagles at 3 p.m. Eastern, followed by an Emirates NBA Cup doubleheader, Bucks-Knicks at 7 p.m., and then Mavs-Lakers at 10 p.m. And the whole day starts with the Capital One Skins game as 4 elite PGA golfers hit the links with $4 million on the line. Don't miss a moment of Black Friday game day. The Capital One Skins game at 9 a.m. Bears-Eagles at 3. Bucks-Knicks at 7. Mavs-Lakers at 10. And it's all only on Prime.
What's up, champs? Welcome to Short Shifts, your twice-weekly show hosted by Keeping Carlson in between the mega shows, where we make sure you're up to date with all the information. Even when the NHL decides to take the day off, we make sure that you're informed. You know, the previous week show, they were talking about, oh, we only got one game. Well, we're here stuck with 0. So I guess beggars can't be choosers. But either way, while we don't have any games to talk about, we had a pile happened yesterday and even some new news breaking today. So we have a lot to go through. And with me tonight is not Jeremy, who gets to relax on American Thanksgiving. We got Elizabeth. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Up here, in Canada, it's just a regular Thursday, but without any hockey. So we're all sad and having to watch American football, but we're making our way through the day. We're going through all the news. We're hoping for the best. And of course, as people know, I'm an Edmonton Oilers fan. They've got their big autograph session happening today. So shout out to them and putting up with all those crazy fans that have been lined up since 6 a.m.
Oh, yeah, definitely not sure about the weather where you are, but it's, let's just say winter has decided to show up where I live. So they're waiting through it a little bit extra to get to that line. So hopefully they get what they want. And, the winds might not be here right now, but I think we were probably saying the same thing last year. They made it to the Cup. So hopefully everything works out for them. And then talking about working out is that they got the win. And now we have Toronto with Auston Matthews and Matthew Knies. The two Matthews are back. And we see an interesting thing is that the top line is Matthews and Knies. And then we have Tavares and Nylander. There is kind of some practices happening today that kind of mix up the rest. But those are the two sets. But the biggest news to me, and Elizabeth, if you agree with me, let me know, is that Power Play 1 is back to the 5 forwards. We don't have Marner around, but we still have Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, Knies, and then Ethan Cowan is actually at that 5th slot. So poor Riley managers are happy to have the nice forwards back at even strength, but they lose the power play spot. What do you think of this?
I think this is something we've come to expect from Toronto, unfortunately, for our Riley owners. I think them going to the 5 is really working. It's the same way some teams just prefer to play an 11-7. It's just a style choice. And I think it's working for them if we look at the way the game went yesterday. I mean, they won in overtime, which is a nice change of pace. And Wall made 35 saves. So I know he's not the one who came back, but it is something to be said about playing in front of them, getting those lines back to the way they are. And I just think it's an interesting thing, like you said, with that Power Play 1, is they do really well when it's 5 forwards. So why wouldn't you keep it?
Yeah, for sure. So we'll keep track of that. And in talking about returns, we got a surprising return. We went from hearing nothing about Mark Stone to him just coming back, and he's back on top power play and on, I guess, what you would call line two, depending on who you want, is that basically our worries from the start of the season when we were in draft year was kind of happening, is that we have Eichel with Barbashev and everyone's favorite person that they just heard 2 weeks ago, Bowman, is the top line. I guess any line with Eichel is the top line. And then you have Marner and Stone, but not centered by Hertl. It's actually centered by Brett Howden. And then you have, I guess what you'll call line 2.5 with that. You have Saad, Hertl, and Dorofeev. And then, so on top of this mix is that we have now another 5-forward power play. It's Stone, Hertl, Eichel, Marner, and Dorofeev. So Bowman gets the bump with Stone's return. So obviously you're a Stone manager. You're happy to have him back. But if you're one of the managers of the other forwards, how do you take this? Maybe Eichel, you're fine with whoever he's playing with because he's just a superstar on his own. But if you're a Marner manager, a Hertl manager, how do you feel now that they have 3 lines?
It's going to be tough, right? This Vegas team is really high powered. I looked at that power play and that was the first thing I thought of. I put it right in my notes. Like, this is a high powered power play. Like, I expect them to be taking a lot of shots. I expect them to be working hard for it. I think this makes sense. Like, you've got Marner coming from that Toronto system where he had the 5 forwards. You've got Stone, who looked so hot before his injury. I mean, 13 points in 6 games, and 4 of those were in his last game where he got injured. So, I mean, I think that you look at this lineup and you go, we have to give them a shot. The problem with this is that we always run that risk of doing very much what we see with Seattle players, where if they're not getting the ice time, some of that goodness starts to go away and you start to wonder if you should be rostering them. I don't think that will happen with like the Eichels here, but we might see a little bit of a drop in Dorofeev or some of those players where it just comes off a little bit, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So like maybe on like a heavy off night day, and you might be able to like cross your fingers with a Howden, but like I'm with you, is that it's basically top power play are like the only ones that I see is like the easy season long holds. And as much as it hurts to say to me is that Bowman, even if I remember, I think he either assisted or scored on power play too. It's the high nights are probably behind him. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Exactly. That happens with injuries, right? Like, you get a guy who comes up, you want to see him do really good, but when your guy comes back, you kind of have to put him back to where he was.
Yeah, for sure. And then talking about returns, we have so many people coming back. Another is JT Miller came back, and he's back with his usual partners of Trocheck and Panarin on that, I guess you could call it the second line. And then he replaces Cooley on power play 1. It's one of these situations where obviously you spend a high draft pick. You're kind of, you want your players playing, but he hasn't really been doing much. I believe he got like just an assist. So he's kind of around that, like he did something, but not too much. It's just going to be one of those things of just like, basically the way I look at it is like how I feel about Robert Thomas. That's maybe not as high skill level, is that you basically have to start him unless you have a super team. And then you're just going to have to hope for the best and just kind of live with it. I'm not sure this really changes any calculus in trades and whatnot. Do you agree?
I agree. I mean, he only missed 2 games, so this was not a long change in their lineup. It was a short run thing. So I feel like, yeah, you want Miller back in the lineup. He did get that 1 assist, and I think it was 2 hits. It wasn't a great showing by Cacuffle point standards. You do want to see a little bit more, but he only logged around 18 minutes. So maybe we see that go up a little bit higher to the 20 and we see a little bit more of an opportunity there. But yeah, Miller, you're not doing much with him. Like you said, you're going to start him. You're not sitting him. You drafted high on him and you're stuck.
Oh, yeah. Now, talking about another return, we got Tristan Jarry has returned, and then Murashov has been sent down. So now it's Jarry and Silovs as the 2 goalies. And at the start of the year, I was like, oh, interesting. They'll probably do just the 50-50 split because I remember Silovs is doing well. But like taking a past starts now, part of this is the team. They kind of, the early season glow is kind of fallen off of the Penguins. They're still doing okay, but right now, we have a situation where Jarry returned, had a good game. What'll be interesting to see is that if Silovs, we don't know who's going to be starting next, but if I remember correctly, they do have a back-to-back, I believe, coming up. Or yes, they do. They have Columbus, then Toronto. So they're both going to play. So it'll be interesting to watch. I'm not going to say what I think is going to be happening with the starts, but if Jarry has a good start between one of those two and then Silovs has another bad start, this might be one of those things where maybe neither of them are really roster worthy long term, but you might just want to keep them on your watch list, keep an eye on, just to make sure that, if someone starts to get the starts, hey, it could even be Silovs turning it around, but just kind of something to keep in mind that something could happen. But right now it's just kind of keep on the watch list and nothing more.
And talking about these goalies in Pittsburgh, they're not very highly rostered, so they are really good streams. Like you mentioned, that back-to-back, you're probably guaranteed to get the one start there. So if you're looking for a goalie start, it's a great spot. But what I think was most interesting out of this is Murashov looked really good while he was up. I know he didn't have a ton of starts, but he did do well. 1.9 goals against average, a .913 save percentage. This is somebody where if one of these goalies goes down again, I'm actually really interested in grabbing him and playing him for that period. He did get a shutout. I mean, it was against Nashville, and you've all heard us talk about those Nashville players. So take that with a grain of salt. But I do really think that if you're looking for a start on a goalie and you see one of these guys go down, he'll have that opportunity to play that 50-50. Like you said, neither one of these goalies is really owning that crease right now.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those situations where we're not rostering these goalies more for the volume, not for the skills. So something to just kind of keep an eye out for when you need starts, that one of these players, depending on who they're playing against, might be interesting. I'm definitely with you, even including the guy that got sent down. Going forward, we got yet another player returning. We got, technically, we were quoted, good chance Nichushkin will return for Colorado on the Saturday. So Friday, they're traveling. He's not traveling with the team, but for the home game on the Saturday, there's a good chance. So with that in mind, happy him to come back. And then really the big thing for me to take away is that we don't have practice lines, so we don't know for sure. But when he was in, he was playing on the second line with Landeskog and Nelson, and he did have, for a good chunk, power play one, but they've been kind of shuffling it around. So really in this situation, it's just going to be, I'm confident enough to say that he has the second line, probably kicking off Ross Colton, and then we'll have to just kind of wait and see on that power play setup, because definitely, even with how well the teams play, they haven't been doing great on the power play, so it might be a whole different situation by tomorrow. So just kind of keep an eye out, but keep a chance for Saturday for him to come back, and then if he's there, that second line will be waiting for him.
Exactly. And I'm actually noticing this more with these teams who have these back-to-backs and returning players, where they're bringing them back on that second night. And I actually really like that, because you're not overworking them and you're not overly testing that injury. So I do like seeing that more teams are doing this. I would prefer when they're my players that they come back on the first night, though. Just a personal fantasy preference.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I had a situation early this season. I think it was like Campus Lindholm. He returned on the first game of a back-to-back, and then they just said for roster management purposes, they scratched him for the second. And I got into the weird situation. I forget. I think I had to drop someone to activate him. Then now I'm like out of moves or low on moves. I'm like, so do I use a move to replace him on the second day? So it's a weird dance.
Yeah, bring him back on the second day, guys. Like, that's all we ask from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, we may be asking for a lot of things, but that one's actually, an attainable one. Once we get our Keep It Carlson beat reporter to ask, why you have certain players on the power play and, and stuff like that. But this one, at least, just wait till that second day just so we can manage our rosters easier. And talking about managing rosters is that we have a sadly revolving door. We don't know the full picture yet, but at the start we have Jared McCann has returned back to Seattle, and he's done what he's normally done basically this season, is that while this is just his sixth game, he's got his fourth game with a point. So basically just like almost pointing every game, a couple shots and like an assist or a goal. So I know that we're just joking about Seattle before, but this is one of the few players I'm interested in. Obviously, we have the schedule to keep in mind. So I believe they only have one game later this week and then only 2 games next week. So say if you're in a shower league where like you have Seattle players just kind of in the waiver wire, I might not be jumping on to him, but this is something to keep in mind once he's playing, he's probably going to be in a good position to get the time on ice to get the points. And then on top of this, we also have Jaden Schwartz, which was basically him and Eberle were like the two wingers that were in the Mccann slot before this history of just like, yeah, we're not a fan of these people in general, but they just keep on getting points, so might as well roster him. But he is out. He didn't return to the game. And basically the coach, as we're saying, we like to hear a lot of things from our coaches. Now, this one just gave us the boilerplate. It's not good because he didn't come back. So we don't know if that means, oh, what a shame he didn't come back, then he's going to be back for the next game, or he's out for 3 weeks. So right now, we don't have the news. Keep an eye out on game day tweets. Once we find out, we'll let you know. But right now, we have Mccann in, Schwartz out.
That's about all we can say on that one, truly. I watched that play multiple times to try to figure out what might have been injured because I'm not a doctor and I'm not an expert. I have no answers for anybody, you guys. But what I can say is it didn't look super serious. So hopefully if he is out, we're not talking about a months-long wait for him to come back. It should hopefully be short. But I would expect a better update tomorrow when we start seeing these teams practice and travel for games.
And then talking about something that's not going to be long-term is we have Dostal being declared injured with an upper body injury. They said, we're not sure how serious it is, but I don't foresee it to be long-term. So right now we have Mrazek and Husso, two old Red Wings goalies, are now the two goalies that are there. And as someone who has watched a good chunk of Mrazek, if you're a fan of roller coasters, he's your goalie. Is that you'll have the nights where he's just standing on top of his head, just stopping everything. And then there's other nights where you realize, oh, that's why you're not an everyday starter. So if you're willing to go on that roller coaster ride on a team that, sure, they have a lot of interesting players, but honestly, for most of the season, they haven't been the defensive stalwarts. So you're going to get your shots. You have a team that's going to score a lot of goals that potentially could get you a win, even if Mrazek or Husso leaves 4 goals behind them. So I'm not really sure of just like how long this is going to be. By I saw this, it doesn't sound long term, but if you're willing to be risky and have a situation where saves are valued, this might be a stream where, white knuckle, if you're willing to, it could be a, say in a couple of terms, it could be a 10-point or it might be a -5. So get ready for the ride if you're interested in something like that.
This is definitely a high risk, high reward play. I agree with you. I looked at his stats, a .881 save percentage, 3.69 goals against average, which seems extremely high, especially, but like you said, he does roller coaster. So you could have a shutout one day and you could be sitting in the negative the next day. You don't know. I have been rolling the dice with goalies this week and it has not been going in my favor. So I unfortunately will not be taking this gamble. I had a terrible Monday night and now I'm a little gun shy. But I do foresee a few people, if you're in a close matchup, this could be a great tiebreaker for you if it plays well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And something to keep in mind is that they do play Sunday this week. So if you're in that position where you're like, I am down big, but not like big enough to give up, this might be the Hail Mary. I'm going to guess that Mrazek gets to start, but of course, keep an eye out for who's starting, because while Husso did have his moments in St. Louis and then maybe a little bit in Detroit, I'm not trusting him at all, but Mrazek, that's one that, like, depending on how much of a gambler you are, if you play Sunday and you need something big, is something to keep in mind. And for the next step, we have Edmonton notes, and I think we'll give it to the expert and just take us away and tell us what we need to know about what's going on in Edmonton other than the strife that they're facing every week.
Yeah, that is the story here in Edmonton. It's getting rough being the Edmonton expert these days, but we have some news and we've got some good news. We've got some interesting news. So I do want to bring it up. We're not here to just beat up on all the 9 1s and 8 3s. So Kasperi Kapanen, we got some sad news this morning. He'd been working his way back. He'd been on the ice with Nuge a bit. He'd been on the ice with the team a bit, but unfortunately he got injured at practice this morning. So we don't know how long that's going to impact him for. We had hoped to see him come back this weekend. But until we get more details on that, I would say hold off and just wait and see what happens. He hasn't played since October 19th. So it would have been a big boost to the Oilers. Also set to return this weekend was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And some good news there is he did not get injured in practice and he still looks set to return. He had 16 points in those first 16 games he played, 5 goals, 11 assists. So really somebody who can come and bring some momentum back to this team. I think we're currently expecting him to center that third line with Clattenburg and Mangiapane, but this is the Oilers. They keep shuffling. If we don't see Kapanen come back, we might see a little bit more shuffle there. So just something to pay attention to is where he fits in the lineup, but he is somebody who produces all the way in that top 9. Next, Curtis Lazar, also set to return Saturday night. It was supposed to be really a big homecoming on Saturday, is what I'm saying. He'll be filling in on the 4th line. There's not too much to say in here. He's missed the last 4 games, so he'll just be a nice addition to have back and get that dressing room going. I think 1 goal in 9 games, 3 shots on goal. This isn't really somebody you're grabbing for the points, but 19 hits. So if you're looking for hits, that is something to definitely be interested in. I was looking at this, and I found the most interesting fact about this Curtis Lazar returning Saturday being that on Monday, they reported he was still week to week, but I'll happily take him back. I have no issues with this. I'm glad the reporting on Monday was wrong. So this is why we follow. This is why we would look at game day tweets, everybody, is because things can change in a minute. Last but definitely not least, Jack Roslovic is currently day-to-day with an undisclosed injury. He left Tuesday's game after a blocked shot, but he came back. So we're just not really sure if this is something that happened with that blocked shot or something that happened after. So something that we have to wait for more news on, unfortunately, from the Oilers. He's been fitting in so well that I'm really hoping this is just a short-term notice and that he is able to play in that Saturday game. If he is, just kind of assume he's going to be on that second line with Draisaitl and Podkolzin would be my guess. It was where he'll fit with all of the additions coming back in. He's at 18 points in 23 games played. And if you had asked me at the beginning of the season, I would have told you not a chance. But he's doing great, 53 shots. So if you have him, stash him in your IR. Hope that he's back soon. Interesting enough, Yahoo, he's only 49% rostered. So he is available in some leagues, but definitely take a look at your league and see if it is matching.
Yeah, and sadly, we do not have the information, especially with the Roslovic not practicing, is that we do not have the power play information. So that's going to be the really interesting part, is that if Roslovic is healthy and that we have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, it will be interesting to see who has that 4th forward spot, because we have the other 3 with Hyman, Draisaitl, and McDavid set, and then obviously Bouchard's going to be there. So it will be interesting to follow that. Personally, in my situation, depends on what leagues setups you have and who you have starting on that Saturday, is I have Roslovic, and I'll probably stash him on that Saturday, even if he's playing, and then just start someone else. That, say, if I have someone I know is going to get the power play 1. And then once I see how stuff sets out, then you can start making your decisions on your Sunday or getting ready for the next week to see, who's on your free agency, if, say, he's going to be like off the top power play. But playing with Draisaitl, hey, we had situations with like Yamamoto and different players that, obviously not going to be as good as a line 1 power play 1 guy, but line 2s with Draisaitl is a lot better than maybe a good chunk of line 1s out there. So just don't be ready to just ship them Roslovic off if you don't have that power play 1 there.
Absolutely. Some great advice too there is on stashing players on these busy days. If you can foresee it, especially like there's nobody playing today, you have all the time to look at your lineups and plan out Friday and Saturday. If you can stash him and you're not going to be able to fit him on Saturday, make that plan now and just leave him in your IR. I mean, obviously you're not going to do that if you have like a Auston Matthews or a McDavid injured, but if you have some of these peripheral guys that you might be benching, excellent advice. I love that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually stashed Toffoli. He missed 1 day of practice this week because he was sick, and I wasn't planning to start him anyway. So what I was able to do is I stashed him into IR and picked up someone that we're going to be talking about after the break on that's for a hot streak, and that got a goal and an assist. So just take one moment to wait and listen to these ads, and then once we're back, you'll get to hear about one of the people that I picked up.
Turkey, touchdowns, and takes. It's Thanksgiving and the action doesn't stop at the dinner table. Feast on some winnings this holiday with Pick 6, DraftKings' newest fantasy pick'em game. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. It's that simple. Pick 6 brings you upside those other pick'em sites can't touch. The better you perform, the bigger your payout. And it's available in most states, including Texas, California, Georgia, and more. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. New DraftKings customers can play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call, ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. In Connecticut, must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Are you scouring the web for the best Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals? Stop it! Get Rakuten! Rakuten is a shopping sidekick that gets you cash back on gifts for everyone on your list. Right now, you can get up to 15% cash back at the stores you love. You can even stack cash back on top of the biggest sales of the year. That's savings on savings. It's more time shopping and less time searching. With Rakuten, you're always saving at your favorite stores on the things you're already buying. Cash back is automatically applied to your account as you shop, and you get paid via Interac e-transfer, PayPal, or check. Now's the time to join. Up to 15% cash back ends on December 1st. Plus, new members will receive a welcome bonus after minimum qualifying purchases. Just go to Rakuten.ca, download the app, or install the browser extension. That's Rakuten. Rakuten. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Everybody knows Shaq, but off camera, he's just a regular guy.
People never believe me when I say I'm just like them. I take out the trash, do dishes, and I struggle with moderate obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA. And a lot of adults with obesity also struggle with moderate to severe OSA. You know those scary breathing interruptions during sleep, the loud snoring, choking, and daytime fatigue? I knew I had to talk to my doctor. Don't sleep on the symptoms. Learn more at don'tsleeponosa.com.
This information is provided by Lilly, a medicine company.
The Who's Down and Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
Get ready to shop Lowe's Black Friday Doorbuster deals to save $150 on a 30-inch Blackstone griddle, now $299. Plus, choose a Whirlpool top-load washer or Midea top freezer refrigerator for just $398. These limited-time doorbuster deals go fast, so get holiday ready today at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid 11/28 through 12/1. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Welcome back. Now we're at the hot and cold streaks, and we're open with hot streaks of a set of, actually it's a full line of Buffalo players, including Zucker, who was the person I was talking about before, and 2 more. Elizabeth, tell us about these Buffalo players that are just showing us that there's more than Tage and Tuck on the forward core in Buffalo.
Yeah, this Buffalo team, man, they had so many injuries that we were also worried about them. But then you look at this line too, and it is just connecting. I am very interested in them this week. Like you, I picked up Zucker just today as I was filling in our notes today. I was like, I'm not waiting. It was a stop the pod notes, if you will, for me. And I went and grabbed him in a league. They're playing this week. And then they also are this week, Friday, Saturday. And then next week they have that elusive Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I'm really excited about Buffalo players for a schedule perspective. But if we look at this line, we've got Zucker, we've got McLeod, and we've got Quinn. And these guys are looking so good. Quinn was mentioned on the show earlier in the week, but Zucker, 7 points in the last 4 games played. McLeod, 5 points in the last 3 games played. Quinn, 5 points in the last 3 games played. I trust this to keep going. I feel like they are on a hot streak. I don't see any reason why they would mess with this line. I am going to ride this into the weekend like you, hoping that Zucker can continue this streak. And I should note, all of these players are less than 10% owned in Yahoo. Quinn himself is only at 2%. I even looked at our Cupful ownership because sometimes there's a huge variance, and they're around 33% for McLeod and Quinn and 70% for Zucker. So definitely some people that you can look and pick up right away.
And one thing to keep in mind is, I believe this was talked about in the previous show, so we didn't add to it, is that Norris is coming close to being back. So we don't have an official start time. But the interesting thing is that talking about the top power play is that he did kind of do half and half replacing Quinn. So that might be limiting his power play time. But the interesting thing, though, is that Zucker still kept his spot. So out of these 3, I would probably rank it Zucker as the top. And then the next 2 are just kind of depending on maybe positionality and whatnot. But out of these 3, if you have all of them available, Zucker's definitely the most interesting.
Absolutely. I'm 100% there with you. Like I said, I literally stopped what I was doing to go at him. So take that as a good sign, especially because I'm not doing so hot this week. And I was looking at how it would impact me next week more than this week. So that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, really excited for. Somebody else that I wanted to bring up and get your opinions on was somebody that I listed here as hot-ish, because people keep asking me about how I feel about Demidov now that we've seen him throughout the season. And I just want to note that there was a point where people were actually asking me if it was time to drop him. And I thought that was very interesting because he's still got a really good place on this team in Montreal. He's line 2, power play 2 for the most part. If you look at the most recent games, it's 4 points in his last 3 games. He's on pace for 67 points. But he did go on a short cold streak there in the middle of November, and he only had 1 point in 5 games, and I think that really scared people. So do you think this is just one of those things where he's young and he's getting familiar and people should hold out, or are you kind of ride the hot streak and then let him go when it gets cold?
I think it really depends on your league settings. Is that in a league like Cupful, where you get a lot of value from shooting, hits, and blocks, he is a little less interesting to me because he's kind of in that situation is that if he gets an assist, it's still not moving the needle. And then if he doesn't get an assist, it's almost like he didn't play at all because he's going to maybe get averaging a shot a game, if that. So that's kind of where my worry is that we were just, joking before about, say, Roslovic on the second line of Edmonton. Now, this second line, sadly, is, I don't want to sound mean, it might even be a third line because of the lack of center depth. Now, that top line, even as a Red Wings fan, I have to give the appreciation that you got Suzuki, you got Caulfield, you got some really strong players, but without that strong second center, unless something changes, is that the even strength is not really there. And then also, he's missing out on the power play, being on that top power play, so he doesn't really have the greatest players to play. Now, he has the ability to kind of be the puck mover and be the person that kind of stirs the pot. So he makes that second line good. So it's not one of those automatic snoozers, but I'm not one of those people that, say if you're in a points only league and you're getting, yes, you don't need the shots, you don't need the hits, then I'm a lot more interested. But if you do, I'm maybe not going to be, so willing to say if he has a 4-game cold streak, I might be a little bit more willing to cut than say someone else that's at least, giving me something in the other departments.
That's a great way to look at it too. Like we say all the time, your league might be different. We talk about the Cupful a lot because we're all in it, so it's easy for us. But yes, depending what your league is looking for, this is solid advice. I do know that a few people who reached out to me about this, I did tell them to hold on and wait and see what happens. So I'm glad to see he's back on that hot streak. But I just think you have to watch some of these younger players. That cold streak could go on a really long time. So you do have to be willing to cut when the time is right. And speaking of cold streaks, I did have to include one because what would a hot and cold streak segment be without a cold streak? Teuvo Teravainen, this is actually who I dropped to pick up Zucker. So I am on board for saying you can drop him if you need to. depending on your team, of course, because I just could not fit him. I was benching him all week just based on the schedule. So I did drop him. He's had 0 points in 3 games played. He's on a 53-point pace, so it's not terrible. But like I said, if you're not playing him, he's not getting you anything. He's playing on that second line with Nazar and Moore. And you've heard us talk about these second lines all night tonight. It really depends what that second line means and what it's doing, whether it's more of a middle six grouping or if they're truly like a second line that is taking a lot of ice time. He's still getting power play time, so he's definitely still interesting, but he's definitely cold right now. Watch for the bounce back, watch for the schedule fits, and I would grab him back if the schedule works for me and he's back on a hot streak.
And something to keep in mind, too, is that while he's on power play 1, Burakovsky is currently injured. And if once he comes back, I don't believe it's a long-term thing. It could be something that could be as close as the next game, to my understanding. So if you see Burakovsky is playing, even if you don't see power play lines in practice, I would just straight assume that Teravainen's off. And it, especially like in a busy night kind of situation, I have zero interest in a Teravainen. But as Elizabeth said, like I would keep him on the watch list because he could be a person where Chicago is one of those teams that has a decent amount of off nights. So even in those situations, you might pick him up, but I wouldn't be holding him through the busy nights, especially if Burakovsky comes back.
Exactly. Now, lastly, I'm here on a Thursday when I'm normally part of the Tuesday crew, so I had to bring a little Tuesday tradition with me. We've been having some fun with our closing segments, so please don't turn off the pod yet and have some fun with us. And I wanted to bring that tradition over and share it with you. You're our Thursday cousins, if you will. It's Thanksgiving in the States. I'm a Canadian, and I feel like you guys are teasing me with all the wonderful food and recipes you've been sharing in the Discord. So for a moment here, indulge me in having a segment called Turkey Tease, where I want to talk about hot players who are not available to you in the cupful. It's my Thanksgiving side dish, if you will. So these are all 100% owned in cupful. But if you are playing in any other league, I like to take this as a great barometer of maybe they should be looked at. Take a look at your settings, see if they fit. So first up, Tyler Bertuzzi, 63% rostered in Yahoo, 4 points in 4 games after he missed 2 games, 13 points in his last 8 games played if we go back. So he looks really good from a points perspective. He's not going to get you a lot of blocks. He's going to get you the odd hit, but from a points perspective, well, he's hot. Definitely somebody to be interested in if you count points. Mike Matheson, 68% rostered in Yahoo, 5 points in his last 4 games played, 7 shots on goal. He is going to get you a handful of hits and blocks, not as many, but definitely something to look at there if you need somebody for a couple of games that Montreal schedule fits for you. I'm interested. Next up, Brock Faber, 75% rostered in Yahoo. I was kind of surprised that he was only 75%, so definitely take a peek at him. But 6 points in his last 4 games played, 4 shots on goal in both of his last 2 games. So if you are in a league that is counting points and shots, definitely somebody who is starting to racket up those points for you or those categories for you. Not, again, a lot on the peripherals. So if you're looking for that, it's going to be a bit of a problem. Last but not least on my list of turkey teasers here, Shane Ghostybert is at 84% rostered on Yahoo, so he is a little bit higher, but he's had 16 points in his last 14 games played, 5 shots on goal in Wednesday's match against the New York Rangers, and he's averaging about 2 to 3 shots per game generally, so just somebody with a little bit of interest there. So again, a little bit of that teaser for everybody who's playing in other leagues outside of the cupful and people you might want to check out.
Yeah, and before you say not in my league, it'll be kind of a surprising thing is actually Shane Ghostybert is someone I picked up, I think it was like a few weeks ago in my home league. That's a categories league. Because the interesting thing was what happened. He got hurt. The manager actually had a pile of injuries, so he couldn't fit him on the waiver wire or fit him on the IR. Because even in a shallow league, you know, Ghostybert is great, but he had some even higher name players that he had to stash. So it kind of fell off. And it's something easy to forget because you're not going to see him listed on the top ads because he's rostered so much that not a lot of people are going to add him. I forget what was happening. I was like looking for a D to stream. And then I like looked at like past 30 days and it was like he was back healthy and he was doing well. I'm like, wait, he's a free agent? And then I just added him and then now I got like a power play 1 guy. So yes, obviously we're talking about your shallower leagues. You're talking about the home leagues, you know. We can't be spending all of our time as we do for like every league. So maybe in a league that you're kind of doing with, you know, work pals or something that you're not spending so much time, you'd be surprised at just kind of who's there and one of these players or maybe multiple or hell, maybe someone even better, like in that same league, I got a Zuccarello kind of in that same situation of just these injured players that just might have had to be left off the side just because of full IR situations. So, take that moment, hit a couple of searches and you might find some gold there.
Absolutely. And today is a great day to do those searches because, like we said, there is no hockey. So if you're like me and football is not your thing, you've got all the time in the world today to be taking a look. Go check out those players. Don't go to the ads. Like you said, they're not going to show up on those most added because they're rostered pretty highly. They're all over 50%. But take a peek at who's available that you've been interested in the past before, and they might be there.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, that's the end of our short shift that probably based on when I'm looking at the recording time might be a longer shift, but hey, there's no games, so we had a little bit more time to cover for you. So with that, thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed the show, consider joining the Keeping Karlsson Patreon group. You can take a look at that at keepingkarlsson.com/patron, where super supporters receive ad-free episodes and can interact with all the show hosts, Brian, Elon, the short shift crews, and hundreds of talented fantasy managers on our active Discord server, where even with the no games going on today, we had a pile of chats, and you could even, as a Canadian, be sad to look at some really nice looking turkeys and stuffing in there. So we're always talking about everything. So make sure to join us. And then on top of that, make sure to check out game day tweets so you can keep track of all the injuries that we're talking about to see who's coming in and coming out. And the best part is everything's sorted by team. You can search by player. You get all the information that comes from Twitter without having to step there. And then lastly, on top of that, we use our great sites that we research with is Yahoo, Frozen Tools, Natural Stat Trick. Our outro and intro music was created by Pat Roach. And until we see you next time, do better than us, play smart, and keep your shifts much shorter.
Everybody knows Shaq, but off camera, he's just a regular guy.
People never believe me when I say I'm just like them. I take out the trash, do dishes, and I struggle with moderate obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA. And a lot of adults with obesity also struggle with moderate to severe OSA. You know those scary breathing interruptions during sleep, the loud snoring, choking, and daytime fatigue? I knew I had to talk to my doctor. Don't sleep on the symptoms. Learn more at don'tsleeponosa.com.
This information is provided by Lilly, a medicine company.
With Sylvania, seeing better while driving at night starts with you. Because headlight bulbs dim over time and can lose up to 50 feet of visibility before burnout. That's why you shouldn't wait. Upgrade your drive with brighter lights for better visibility on the road ahead. Sylvania's step-by-step installation video guides make it easier than ever to take control of your nighttime clarity, all without a trip to the mechanic. So before a burnout darkens your day, upgrade to Sylvania and see better tonight.
The Who's down in Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tonies, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
Welcome to Walgreens. Looking for a holiday gift?
Sort of. My cousin Freddie showed up to surprise us.
Oh, sounds like a real nice surprise.
Exactly. So now I have to get him a gift, but I haven't gotten my bonus yet. So if we could make it something really nice, but also not break the bank, that'd be perfect.
How about a Keurig for 50% off?
Bingo.
Savings all season. The holiday road is long. We're with you all the way. Walgreens. Offer valid November 26th through December 27th. Exclusions apply.
The best TV comes in many forms, from real-life mysteries to blockbuster dramas, family favorites, and buzzworthy reality shows. Philo makes it easy to stream them all with one simple, affordable subscription. For just $33 a month, Philo offers more than 70 live channels, including favorites like AMC, A&E, MTV, Discovery, and Nickelodeon, plus on-demand TV like the entire AMC Plus library. Whatever the mood, there's always something new to uncover. Philo subscribers also get access to HBO Max Basic with ads and Discovery Plus at no extra cost, along with unlimited DVR that saves shows for up to a year. No long contracts, no complicated setup, Just endless entertainment ready to stream anytime. Ready for a better way to bundle all the TV you love? Get started at Philo.tv. That's PHILO.tv. Your next obsession is waiting.